having a degree, just having that piece of paper can help in certain places where having a skill doesn't necessarily help. But the path that I'm choosing to take, I don't think requires me to have a degree at this moment in my life. Now, I can always go back. Like, it's not set in stone. Like, it's not like, okay, I walked away, I'm never going to graduate. Like, I could still go back if I wanted. It's just right now I'm pursuing this freelance career and really hoping. I'm kind of putting all of my chips on this deal. Like, I want it to work out. But if for some reason it doesn't, I can always go back, get a degree, and just follow the path that I was kind of on before, but maybe in a slightly different degree.
All right, so you have also gone the comic book convention route, showcasing your artwork there?
Correct.
What's that experience like?
It's very interesting experiencing it from a vendor's perspective. Because I've gone as a guest. I've gone as like as a person of purchase, and
Me too.
You're always like bumping into people, just like wading the crowd like a surfer, and then being behind the table, you kind of feel safe. You have your space, you got your table as a barrier. People can't crowd you, and you just get to watch the chaos. And I use that in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing people come out and dress up in the outfits and cosplay. I don't know. It's great because within those four walls, and technically the street too, because people walk there in their costumes, but like they get to express themselves with like no judgment. And I love that. Like, if we could absorb that energy, that mentality, and spread it to the world, and allow people to just express themselves with no judgment, that would be a wonderful place to be. Absolutely. And I believe that's one of the big reasons why I still go to conventions, because I don't always profit. Like, there's been years, I've only been doing it since 2015, and there was one year that I didn't even make in the plus. Like, I had to buy the table for next year out of my own money. And at the time, I was pretty upset at myself. But then it was like, well, you get what you put into it. Like, I didn't put effort into that year. It was a pretty hard year for me, like, just mentally. And so I didn't create anything new. I had all artwork from the last year, and it translates. Like, when you don't put effort in, the universe doesn't give it back. I mean, in my perspective, like, from my experience, like, if you are stagnant and just existing, you're just floating like a buoy in the ocean,
I can relate. One of my other guests says, if you're not growing, you're eroding.
Yeah, that's very true. I agree with that a lot.
But you have made some money. You did some creative designs for some small businesses also?
Correct, yeah. There's a local pizza company across the river in Ohio. They operate out of a brewery, and they asked me to do some designs for them. They wanted to create some T-shirts to sell. I came up with a few things, and they liked some, didn't like the others, so we just went with the one thing. So that was really satisfying to see that I can make money outside of the comic convention of just selling other people's stuff, basically. I mean, like, people come up to your table and they're like, oh, can you draw me like Superman? And I'm like, yeah, because that's what you're there for. You're there to, kind of do fan art for these people. And so that's fun being able to do that. But when I made my first like sale outside of that, it kind of like sparked that in me, like, oh, you can do this for real. Like, you don't have to just sit at a table for 3 days. Like, you can sit at your desk at home, and the hard part is getting your name out there and making people aware of your work. But I think over time, with a little bit of determination, anything is possible.
And you have a website.
I do.
Which is?
It is. I have it written down. So I have a domain name that I paid for, but in order for me to sync it to my Wix site. I have to pay for premium Wix, so I haven't done that yet. But it is thegrizzlyandartist.wixsite.com/my site.
Duh. D-A.
Yeah, D-A. Because the was taken on everything.
Oh, my
so
goodness.
Sad. Yeah. Like the Instagram page, the Grizzly Artist was taken. Like the Gmail account that I wanted to create was taken. I was like, this really throws me in a wrench. But I went with duh. There's a local printer that I use for printing my work for the comic conventions, and they're called the Best Printing.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, hey, if they can do it, I can do it.
Why the Grizzly?
Well, I have a long beard. It's kind of short now, but I've had a longer beard, and I'm fairly outdoorsy. I love going backpacking and camping, and I don't know. I guess I'm just like a grizzly person. You know, I have like a big personality. I like to venture off by myself. You know, very just grizzly mentality. A little rough around the edges. I feel like I've been through a lot. So at first it was more of like, yeah, I got a long beard. You know, I can be like the grizzly artist. But it's kind of a layered thing. Like grizzly bears are pretty rugged. I consider myself pretty rugged. And, you know, when grizzlies grow up, they go off on their own. You know, they leave their mom. They don't really network like wolves do, or other animals have a sense of community. But grizzlies are one of those that they do their own thing until it's mating season, and then they go off to doing their own thing again.
Any ties to the Grizzly Adams thing? Was that a part of it too?
No.
Oh, that'd be
at least not consciously.
So, are you still married?
I'm not. We were married for 7 years, and it was lots of ups and downs due to my health, which we'll get to later. But we grew apart, you know, as people do, and it's hard to accept defeat. I think that people look at stuff like divorce as a defeat, and it was hard to look at that as like, I failed. But when you accept that it's best for both people to have their own journey and walk their own paths, I believe that there's a brighter outcome from that than, like, I don't know, beating yourself up over it. That's not to say that it was easy. It was not easy. We separated at the beginning of 2018, so it's fairly recent. Yeah. It was like the end of 17, beginning of 18. And I spent most of 18 thinking I was okay and making decisions based off of me thinking I was okay. And just kind of, I don't know, I felt lost, honestly. I didn't know who I was. You take a life that you thought you knew and you separate it from another person, and then you're left with half of who you thought you were. And so you're trying to make up that other half of, like, who am I? Like, who is James? Like, I don't know. So that gave me an opportunity to find out who I am. And I don't want to say I blew it, because I learned mistakes. I learned from my mistakes, but it's like, I could have done that a lot better. I could have found myself in a much different way. And I don't know, I didn't turn to my artwork like I wish I would have. In a lot of those dark times, instead, a much easier friend to find was a bottle. And I'm grateful that I didn't go down that path that far. I did walk that path. I walked it very, very closely, and I'm just grateful with therapy. And I've been seeing a therapist for years, and, you know, having that, and then my friends and family around me that still existed from the separation. I lost a lot of friends through the separation, and the few that stayed have helped guide me, you know, in a better direction than I was heading on my own. But, I'm here now. I think that had I not gone through what I did, I probably wouldn't know the things I know. I'm a pretty stubborn guy, so
It's the Grizzly,
I almost
right?
need. Yeah. I got to learn by experience, unfortunately.
So when did you turn to your art?
Um, Through this, I'd say towards the end of 2018, like around December. Just the end of December is when I created my new Instagram account specifically for artwork. I still have a personal page that I post like when I went to Florida recently. I posted all of my pictures from Disney World on my personal page, and I try to not what's the word, cross-pollinate too much, because I don't want. I don't know. If someone ends up following both of them, I don't want them to see the same stuff.
Okay.
I do use like my Facebook page and stuff to kind of cross promote my Instagram, but I don't know. I think it doesn't seem beneficial to promote myself through another Instagram page. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone can correct me. It just hasn't. I mean, I'm new to this, building a business via Instagram and Facebook, so maybe that's just my inexperience talking.
It is a learning process.
Yeah, for sure. But I would say it was at the end of December, beginning of January, I started putting myself in my art, and I don't know, like I still haven't done what I want to do. I've just been kind of focusing on September is the Comic-Con in Cincinnati. And I'm in this mindset of, okay, I want to try and revamp all the work that I already have, which when I say all the work I already have, it's not a lot of pieces. I think I have 7 or 8 prints, which to a normal person that's not an artist might think that's a lot. But when you're at a Comic-Con and you see people's walls of prints, you're like,
Yeah.
I need to do more work. But I have a pretty ambitious goal of trying to create 16 new pieces before September. And I was able to complete. So I started doing some stuff in January, February, but kind of March to April, I was able to pump out 4 pieces. So that was like a piece a week. And I'm working digitally now for most of my stuff. I still work traditionally, but digital has been. Digital is my iPad, and then traditional is just pencil and paper.
What's your process? Do you take a moment? Do you need music in the background? Is there some kind of traditional way you'd want to, when you concentrate on a piece itself?
Yeah, I guess a more nostalgic way of working is when I was in college, I would listen to music. And like being on campus, you can't really blare music, so I'd always listen in headphones, which I still do from time to time. Even though I live alone in a 1-bedroom apartment, I still listen. I feel like I'm fairly quiet. People wouldn't know I existed if I didn't have a dog that barked. Because I just do a lot of stuff like with my headphones, or like if I'm watching a movie, I try to be respectful and not be loud. But yeah, I'll listen to music either on my headphones or on my speaker, and I kind of just get lost. Like it feels like a problem, like I disappear in the piece. I've gotten better at not doing that, but there's kind of a sense of healing when I'm there. And I mean, like, I don't know, I feel complete when I'm in that place. Like,
you're in the zone.
Yeah.
A creative zone.
Yeah. I guess what an athlete would feel right before they get on the field is what I feel when I'm getting ready to start drawing. At least in the mindset, like that place you go mentally is kind of like, I would feel like the same for a lot of different things.
Do you give yourself a time, like, okay, I'm going to draw for 2 hours, or you just kind of let it flow?
It depends. I have been trying to time myself more. So instead of doing like a timer, because that startles me and makes me anxious.